Live from Alpena, Michigan, this is WBKB 11 Evening News. With up-to-date and continuing coverage on local news, weather, and sports. These are the stories that matter and the news that affects you most. This is your local news team. You're watching WBKB 11 Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Kevin Hodge. The Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary is announcing a huge discovery found at the bottom of Lake Huron. It brings the number of shipwrecks in Shipwreck Alley up to 100. Quick reaction from an Alpena Schools bus driver has left a couple of students with minor injuries. The Alpena County Sheriff's Office, along with Michigan State Police, responded to a crash at 6 a.m. this morning. A pickup truck was moving southbound in the northbound lane near M65 and Lear Road when the bus driver tried to swerve out of the way. The bus was hit on the side by the truck, causing minor injuries. According to Superintendent Dave Rabideau, there were 2 students on the bus at the time. The driver of the truck was issued a citation for crossing the center line, while the bus driver possibly prevented serious injuries through their quick action. Poor road conditions also contributed to the crash. An Alpena woman is facing a felony charge of animal cruelty after the Alpena County Sheriff's Office found animals in poor health in a trailer on Bear Point Road. It goes back to March 2nd of last year when a deputy found several dogs and a bearded dragon in very poor health on the property. They were all in emaciated condition and later placed into Animal Control's protective care. One of the dogs required hospitalization in intensive care. Stingray Thompson was arraigned today and faces 1 count of animal cruelty and neglect. If convicted, she could face up to 2 years in jail, fines, and community service. State Senator Michelle Hoytinga, representing Michigan's 36th district, introduced legislation this week that would lessen the penalty for not reporting deer kills within 72 hours to the DNR. Many were upset when the DNR announced last year that those reports must now be made online, making it difficult for hunters who have camps deep in the woods. This new legislation would reduce the penalty of not reporting on time to a civil infraction rather than a misdemeanor. Hoytinga said in a press release, quote, "Many deer camps have no internet or limited cell service to report a deer harvest to the DNR. Other states have more options, including call-in reporting. Michigan should provide hunters with more options instead of harsher penalties." Governor Whitmer has declared June 22nd through the 25th June Jubilee. Tomorrow marks the 60th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. marching down Woodward Avenue in Detroit, where he delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech for the first time. He also pushed for the advancement of jobs, justice, and freedom. Governor Whitmer said in her press release today, quote, "We still have more to do. Our mission is to keep striving and working together to deliver real change that makes a difference in people's lives and build a just, equitable Michigan for all." All right, thanks for the heads up, Ryan, as always. And now it's time for our photo of the day. It was sent in by Kathy Ashton. She saw this eagle land on the shores of Lake Huron in front of her home in Harrisville. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing this photo with us. And if you at home have an interesting photo of people, places, or things that you would like to send us, email it along with a short description to news@wbkb11.com. And coming up on WBKB News, there's potential power steering problems for over 1 million Ram pickup trucks. We'll have your financial headlines, and Isabel Shelton will have the latest in sports when we return. Thank you for watching WBKB News at 6. Remember to visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night. And check us out on our Facebook page and Twitter handle at WBKB11. We're also streaming our shows live on the free-to-download app View It, or you can visit our website. And join us tonight for WBKB News at 11 for more with myself and Kyra Davis. Have a great night, everybody.
Structurally, it's still sound, but obviously aesthetically, it's going to need some work.
Onlookers could only watch as Alpena City firefighters battled the fire inside this historic home known locally as the Fletcher House. According to Fire Chief Rob Edmonds, maintenance workers were using a heat gun for renovations when they took a break and the fire started.
So when we first got here, the first level didn't have much smoke in it until they got to the second level of the structure. And it was a fair amount of smoke at that time.
Using a ladder and chainsaws, firefighters opened a hole in the roof to help ventilate the building.
They had to make an attic access by ventilating through the attic surface to try and find an origin. And we ventilated the roof because it was pretty closed in, so we had to give it a place to go. So once we did that, then pretty much the fire was under control and able to be extinguished.
Battling the fire took its toll on the firefighters, and many of them had to sit and take a much-deserved rest. The Salvation Army was present and made sure to keep them hydrated.
It's a lot of extra heat and a lot of stress on the body. Obviously, with it being a warm day like it is, they're warm anyways just due to the atmospheric conditions. But then when you add on about another 50 or 60 pounds a year and working, breathing off from an air pack, they get through a tank and we try and rehab them.
There are no injuries, but the house did sustain some damage.
There's a fair amount of smoke damage throughout the building just because it was heavily charged, mostly in the upstairs. There's water damage just from us doing extinguishment operations. And we cut some holes in the ceilings, the walls, and in the roof.
Despite the damage, the Fletcher house will remain standing. An Alpena man was in for a surprise earlier today and discovered a large swarm of honeybees had taken shelter in the tree in his front yard. With the help of Dryer Hill Farm out of Hillman, they were able to relocate them in hopes they'll thrive in a safer environment.
And this was a real good-sized swarm, healthy-looking bees, and they were very calm.
It isn't often Luke Dryer of Dryer Hill Farm is called to help take care of a honeybee invasion. But on Friday, he arrived at an Alpena home to find a fairly large swarm.
What happened is the hive they came from was either sick or just got too big for the space they were in, and so they are looking for a new home. So the queen and a decent portion of the hive just took off looking for that home. They've had some bees going ahead and trying to find a suitable place, but they can only fly so far before they get tired.
It may look like a dangerous situation, especially when Dryer started to put them in a box with his bare hands. But honeybees aren't usually aggressive, and that's why he only received one sting throughout the process.
They don't have a home right now, and so their only goal is to protect each other and the queen, and if I'm not bothering them, if I'm not being really rough, they don't care that I'm there at all.
Once Dryer is able to get the queen into the box, the rest will follow. He'll then take them home where he hopes they'll be able to live comfortably.
The queen will move into the new boxes, and her scent will start to tell the others this is home, this is where we belong, and they'll all start filtering in there. And as long as they accept the hive, the new hive, they'll stay there.
Honeybees play a crucial role in our ecosystem, and that's why Dryer says always call a beekeeper, never an exterminator.
Honeybees are the top pollinator in the world. There are other insects that will do pollination, but none do it to the extent of a honeybee. And so they are actually vital to our food crops, and we don't want to kill them. We want to do anything we can to keep them alive.
According to Dryer, it's possible there could have been about 10,000 bees in this swarm.